Well, hey kids, back at it with the little old Firenza here again. You may remember when we kind of did the tour, when we started the series on this car, kind of went around and pointed out a few parts that were missing that are kind of Firenza specific, or they're maybe unique to Starfire or something that I had said, may or may not be able to get. One of the other things that's kind of a bummer, I guess, not the end of the world, is the Firenza's had a special sports steering wheel. It's kind of like what a lot of the other Cutlasses had, 442s, performance Oldsmobiles, stuff like that. But it's a smaller diameter. So it's only on these cars. Well, it's long gone. Somebody put this Grant steering wheel on here, which these are okay. Of course, they put it on upside down, but it's missing. I'll probably never get another one, but I want to get something that looks like it belongs in this car a little better. Well, I saw a sport wheel for sale on good old eBay, and I had to have it. I get stuff in my head. I'm like, gotta strike where the iron's hot. Those things, there's only so many of them, and the unique thing about them is they look just like the larger sport wheel option that was on, a Cutlass, or I think you could get them on Vista Cruisers and Omegas and all kinds of things like that, but they're, I think, 15 and a half or 16-inch diameter, and the Starfire one, which I have on this Firenza, is 14 and a half. So I don't know whether it's a combination of the fact that the little bit smaller wheel might seem sportier on a bigger car, or there's just so many to go around. People put them on other brands. I don't know, but they're just not a whole lot out there. And when I see things like that pop up, I've waited in the past, like I'll get one later, and that's always been a mistake. So I put a bid on this thing, and I bid it up to where I thought I'm going to get it. And but you got to watch somebody kind of jump in and try to snipe you, and that's what happened. And I didn't get it, and I was pretty frustrated. So I said, "There's got to be another one out there." And I found one that was just the wheel only, and it looked rough. And I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot. So I gave the guy my best offer. He took it, came here. We're going to get it tuned up and dare to be different. So let's check it out. All right, well, the first thing that I did was soaked this, flipped it over, soaked it, and then flipped it over again and soaked it with Goo Gone or Goof Off. I can't remember. I'm going to verify that here in a second. But just to try to get some of the, grease and oil and whatnot off of it. This was surprisingly not sticky. A lot of these, I think it's mainly GM that has a problem with this, but a lot of these kind of rubberized steering wheels like this, man, they're just gross. I mean, they get this really sticky, feel to them, and I don't know the actual reason for it. Some people say it's years of use and the oils in people's skin that leaches into it, and then you're just kind of constantly transferring that back and forth. Other people have said it's the actual rubber, plastic, whatever the heck it is, breaking down, and it's that's part of the ingredients of it, and it's just coming to the top. It's a hassle one way or another. I remember when I worked at the used car lot, a lot of 70s, 80s General Motors cars would come in, and they'd have the steering wheel wrap all the way around it, and that was what was under there, was this gooey, sticky mess, and it's stuff. If you had light-colored clothes on, it would stain your clothes. It was gross. But having said all that, this one's not that way. I mean, it looks, it looks like it's got chicken pox or something on there, and I don't know what's going on with that. But they're not depressions. It's just discoloration. So we're going to get it really cleaned up the best that we can. Going to put some adhesion promoter on it, and then we're going to put some vinyl spray dye on it. We're going to see what we get out the other side. But first, we are going to take and, while the wife's away, put it in the kitchen sink and clean the heck out of this with some, dishwashing liquid, and get it back to where it's nice and dry, and then we'll rub it down with some alcohol and go from there. Okay, here's the end result of our cleaning. Did kind of hit the metal parts with some SOS pad. I got the Scrub Daddy out on it in a sink full of warm water and Dawn dishwashing liquid, and yeah, it looked fairly clean. It felt fairly clean, but that water turned black right away. So I thought I better keep going here, and I got the big guns out. I guess there's a couple kind of features molded into this. You can see there's like a groove going way around the end, corresponding one on the inside, and then there's some kind of fake stitching detail with another groove where they've made like a French seam kind of look on this, like it was a leather wrapped wheel, which of course it's not. But that's a big dirt trap, and I got a toothpick. Started going around, chasing around there, and man, I was pulling out all kinds of nastiness. Kept breaking the toothpick, and I said, all right, let's do something different, and use one of my many, just garbage old screwdrivers that the tip's savable, but I just let it be so I can kind of use it as a baby pry tool or a little cleaner like that, because it's pretty dull. It's not very sharp. And you definitely don't want to be gouging this stuff and removing material. We're just trying to get the dirt out of there. And I went over it, and I must have went around it 3 times. Every one of those chased through that until I really wasn't getting anything out. Did I get everything? Well, probably not, but I got it way cleaner than it was, because paint won't stick to dirt or grease. I don't care. I mean, Rust-Oleum, yeah, you could probably paint the inside of a full glass of water with it, but that's not what we're using. And why make it hard on yourself? Get it clean. There isn't no such thing as too clean when you're painting something. I was looking for a little tire brush that I had, which was kind of just a brass brush, and that's what this is, because I went after it after that and kind of went over the grooved areas in that fake stitching to clean it up too. And but I couldn't find that tire brush. But this is kind of the same thing. It's that tire brush had brass bristles on it. Don't get your welding steel bristle brush out there that you're knocking slag off with or something. You'll scratch it up so much that you won't be able to hide the texture that it creates. I mean, this didn't make any kind of a texture on it at all. It just kind of got down into the grooves and cleaned it up a little bit. I did have a kind of a house scrub brush that I keep with my car wash stuff that I got in there to clean it. And I mentioned earlier I used some Goo Gone Goof Off. I couldn't remember which one. It's Goo Gone. That's what I used on there. Final step, when I brought it out here and took the air compressor and kind of blew it dry and the best I could, is wiped it down with some alcohol. I probably did it 3 times. I mean, you keep going until the rag comes back clean. Get it as clean as you can. You want to get it dry, because we're getting ready to mask it up, and we're going to go with adhesion promoter here, which is part of the paint system for this dye that goes on here. I had a 71 Mustang that I changed the interior color years ago. It was kind of like buckskin brown, or whatever Ford called it, and regrettably I just thought it needed to be black, and dyed it all black. And I did not use adhesion promoter, and it lasted for years and years. So what I've read is that modern paints kind of don't require that anymore. And then you get the old timer to say, oh, you got to have it or it'll fail. Well, it didn't fail for me. That doesn't mean it was right. But this is front and center in your face. It's a steering wheel. So this may be snake oil, and you don't need it, but I bought it anyway. It wasn't that expensive, so we're gonna put that on there first, let it dry, and actually follow the directions. Here we go. All right, that's what it looks like with the adhesion promoter on there. Kind of a satin finish. You got to put the top coat on within 10 minutes, according to the instructions. So we're going to do that next. Well, there's the finished project, or at least where I'm going to stop. I'm really happy. Is it perfect? No. But it looks so much better than what we started with. If you go back and look at the start of the video. Believe it or not, this is a whole can of paint on this thing. I was shocked, but I just kept kind of creeping up on it. This is probably 3 coats on each side. I kept flipping it over. I had it on a little stand, 4x4 stand here. I painted, and I was just, easing up on it. As everybody knows, you don't want to, soak it. Kind of want to, keep it from, running or sagging or anything, which is what I did. And it definitely doesn't have any of that kind of finish in it, but surprisingly, it could take another coat or two. But I don't care, because I've got more to paint and more to fix on the interior, and we'll see how this holds up. I mean, you never know, this could flake off. I don't think so. I mean, I believe it's down there good. I mean, it really feels good. I'll let this dry overnight, and it's great. I mean, you couldn't tell that it's even painted. It feels like a factory finish on here, and it looks pretty good. It's just there's a few areas to where you can kind of see some of the damage, especially on the backside that's coming through. But hey, it's the backside. How often are you going to see that? So, like I said, I'm happy. I'm going to call this a win. I mean, it looks like better than what I had hoped. And like I said, if you go back and look at what we started with, it is a marked improvement. So, there you have it. Do the same thing to your wheel. Just take your time. I mean, painting is all about the prep work. I mean, anybody's going to tell you that. So keep it clean, take your time, and you can get some good results. And remember, dare to be different. Well, hey, the horn button came in today. We gotta paint that red too. It actually comes in 2 pieces. The button itself out here, and then the emblem's separate, was in this little bag here. And I believe that's because I think this is the same part that's used on the Buick sport wheel. So, obviously they're just changing the badge, but which that's fine, because I wanted to be able to get to it and not have to mask it all off, and just get it complete coverage on there. So one thing I did was I drilled the rivets out on here. Before you do that, you see a bunch of arrows and stuff going every which way. And depending on what I was marking, I like my blue Sharpie on lighter colored things, and on darker stuff, you got to pony up for the expensive silver ones. But so you can see, because you want your rocket going skyward there, and it's not installed anyway, but I marked it all up and drilled or here's a tip for getting the rivets out. This just had pop rivets in there, but if you just go after it with a drill, it's more than likely to start spinning. So get something that'll fit into the pin of the rivet, if you know what I mean, the part that goes pop, and knock that out if you can, because it makes it a whole lot easier. Then the collar of the rivet will just cut right off of there, snap onto the drill bit. If not, it'll just spin, and that's actually what, if you look at like removing a window regulator or something in a GM shop manual, they'll tell you to do the same thing to drive the center of it out. It's easier with the bigger diameter rivets, because you can get a a punch and just push it in there. This is like an upholstery tack or something. It just happened to be really close to the right size, and it'll take a pounding. So, and you know, you're not trying to kill it. You're just trying to push that center out to where you can cut it off of there. Get it loose, mark it up, take it back apart, and we'll get her painted. Get her painted red, and almost done. Well, there you have it all put together. Yeah, probably not a high priority, but like I said, I get something in my head that I want to do, and it's hard to let it go. I'm going to call it a win. Like I said earlier, everything came out great. I did notice something. It's got a tilt column in it. This definitely had a red wheel on it, but the mast jacket should have been painted red too, and it's not. And it got me looking at the build sheet again that we found in a previous episode. If you want to go back and check that one out, I suggest you do. It's pretty informative. Yeah, somebody has swapped the columns in here. Could explain some of the other kind of hacked up stuff that's in there. But hey, you know, the joys of owning an older vehicle. So we'll be taking that out and painting it back up and making it look right. But again, not a big priority, but pretty happy I got that wheel in there. It just suits it, you know. Supposed to be there. Car's not going to be 100% stock, but I mean, that's part of the character, part of the interior design for it that I think it really, really needed. This is a kind of an unpaid endorsement, but one I want to throw out there. These guys, Fusick, kind of hard to read their logo here, but that's what it says, Fusick. I think I'm pronouncing that right. These guys, they do a lot of Oldsmobile stuff, and this is their Cutlass catalog. That's where I got all the pieces to put that together, because I only had the wheel, as you saw in the beginning. All I had was just the wheel itself, which is unique to the Firenza, or Starfire. The horn contact, the hub assembly, the center cap, everything else is the same as a Cutlass or anything else that would have had that sport wheel on it. So they don't list it that way, but it is. As you can see, I put it together. Of course, it's in black because the only ones that were in color are the Starfire ones. So you got to paint them up. But we did that, and it came out. But these guys were real responsive, real friendly, and there's other places to get the same parts. And these guys are actually a little cheaper, and but they I like to, you know, try to get the little bit smaller organizations out there. But this is no mom and pop by any means. They got a bunch of parts, bunch of catalogs, but you know, it's not like a national parts depot or anything like that. So wanted to throw them some business and mention that you know, they did treat me right. So look them up. Well, there's another one in the can. So I hope you got something out of that. Nothing beyond anybody's abilities, really. I mean, clean, clean, clean. That's the word, the phrase for the episode. Or you're wasting your time, especially with this interior stuff, because it gets hot and cold, and you're squishing it, and it's getting pushed back and forth. You know, nothing like a kind of a much more rigid, I suppose, body panel or something that doesn't gonna be subjected to you touching and rubbing on it all the time. Plus, anything plastic, it's gonna have mold release on it. You gotta get that stuff clean off of there. Paint's not gonna stick to it. So just remember that. Follow the instructions on the product, and it'll come out. You know, you saw the results, and hey, we got rid of this thing, so we'll trade this. We'll, you know, give it to a buddy that needs one, whatever. But you know, still good. Just I like it a whole lot better with that wheel. So until next time, dare to be different. Like, subscribe, share. You know the homework. Let's do the drill. Keep on them with them comments, man. I love it, and we're gonna keep doing our thing. Until then, for the next episode, I'll see you later.